welcome back from that break. Glad you're still watching Science Breakfast with me, Alan Hubbard, and sign language interpreter this morning is Jedida Wafula. Now, this is, you've made it in time for Political Monday, where we're going to be going through the happenings that are making rounds in the world of politics in our country. And joining me for these conversations, and this is how it's going to be from Monday, every other Monday starting today. We were to start last week, but apparently he forgot his tie, and today he does not want one as well. So yes, if you have any views that you'd like to share, do head on to our social media platforms at Science TV Kenya, at the Alan Hubbard, and we'll be glad to sample some of them. And this morning we're going to be centering the conversation on two happenings. They are happenings at the burial of the former Mau Mau fighter, that is Mukami Kimathi, right?
Yeah,
Mukami Kimathi. And as well, we're going to be weighing into the conversation that the president had yesterday with the media addressing the nation. Kindly introduce yourself and tell people why you do not have a tie today.
So, good morning. My name is Kasanga Johnson. Straight to the question why I don't have a tie. I tried to
tie it, but Kentai could not tie a tie.
It didn't work.
Yes.
It was either short or long, and I gave up.
Yeah. But I hope you haven't given up on the politics of the country. And to go straight into it, on Saturday, right, deep in Kinangop, that is Nyandarua County, that the burial of the former Mau Mau fighter, that is Mukami Kimathi, went down, and she joined the short list of people who have been given state funerals in the county. What did you make of that burial? Even as in true fashion, Raila Odinga called out the deputy president and said the flag was supposed to be at half-mast, but you did not put it at half-mast. Why not?
First of all, to start, I think she was the 8th person to be accorded a
state funeral. Yeah.
It is an honor for an individual to be buried in such a manner. I don't understand the reason as to why the flag wasn't flown at half-mast, given that her contributions to the current independence of Kenya is one that cannot go unmentioned. But I think it was an afterthought to accord her this state funeral, given that even the remains of her later husband have never been retrieved from wherever it is that they were buried.
Yeah, they say they are still in committee prison, and I think the president went ahead and spoke to it and said they will do whatever is possible to make sure that the remains are retrieved.
But you see, as we talk right now, Kenyatta was there.
Yes.
Moi was there. Kibaki was there. Uhuru was there.
Yes.
This is now Ruto's turn. And how many years ago? Almost 4 decades.
Yeah, almost 4 decades. You cannot count.
Around 4 decades.
Yeah.
And maybe just getting some skeletons here and there. But what the people want is for the remains to be brought home, regardless of their state.
Yeah.
It is very frustrating that as a country we cannot be able to locate the remains of one of our veteran fighters. This really makes me wonder whether the leadership knows where the guy was buried. Is he in Kenya? Is he out of Kenya? Because I've seen some reports that the guy was beheaded and the head was taken to the United Kingdom. So we are not sure
of where exactly his remains are.
His remains are.
And probably that's one of the reasons why even for the past 4 decades there hasn't been much that has been done to identify his remains. And our producer is going to play a clip here of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga at the funeral recounting some of the momentous activities that went into Kenya achieving its independence. Talk about giving a whole history lecture in 5 minutes. Mr. Director, if you may kindly play the clip.
Kama maisha imepanda, hapana leta ushuru mingi zaidi. Hapana, ni weka tena mzigo wengine juu yake. Punda imechoka. Jamaa hawaambii wewe. Mimi ndio niweze kuambia wewe tu.
Mimi ndio siambiwi ukweli ama wewe ndio wapi ukweli? Because hiyo unasema nimeongeza sijui ushuru, nimeongeza ushuru. Mimi nataka nikwambie my friend, ukiangalia kwa budget kuna watu wa kuambia ukweli. Nimepunguza sehemu karibu 20 ya mambo ya ushuru. Nimeondoa karibu bilioni 500 ya madeni katika hii budget kupunguza mzigo kwa hao wa Kenya. Kwa sababu pale kwa historia unaweza kunishinda. Lakini hapo kwa uchumi, bana. Unajua makosa mlifanya nyinyi, badala ya kwenda kusaidia mkulima kuzalisha, mlienda kupatia pesa mila. Ule mtu anasiaga pale. Ule mtu ya kusiaga ako na unga yake ya kutoa wapi? Si inatoka shambani. Ndio mimi nimeenda kwa wakulima kupanga hawa. That is how to reduce the cost of living. You don't reduce the cost of living by working with millers on subsidy programs. Mimi ni mwanafunzi wa karibu sana wa rais wa 3 anaitwa Mwai Kibaki. Vile Mwai Kibaki alifanya, aligundua ya kwamba nchi hauwezi kuiendesha kwa kutafuta madeni na kukopa madeni. Nchi unaiendesha kwa kupanga vile ushuru itapatikana. The people we are trying to hire in our housing plan are fellow citizens of the Republic of Kenya. Ni watoto wetu, ni jamii zetu, ni Wakenya wenzetu.
Even though the director has not clearly played the clip that we had requested for, but we are eventually going to go into that conversation of what seemed like a real-time battle, a battle of supremacy between former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and the President, where the former Prime Minister went ahead and said that quote-unquote punda imechoka, usiongeze mzigo mwingine zaidi, and then the President went on stage without waiting and said, okay, ni sawa, there are some shortcomings ndio, but pia nyinyi you sort of were part of the problems that we are in right now. What do you make of that? And also, before you tell us that, what do you think of our politicians in true classical form always taking politics at funerals where people are mourning, but you start bickering over politics?
Okay, let me start with the second one, then
yes.
I'll go to the first one. A politician is a politician.
Yes. You give them an opportunity.
You see, what really excites a politician is an audience.
Yeah.
And where can you find these audiences? For free.
You've not ferried them.
Yeah, you know, in rallies,
yeah,
you really have to put in the work to get the people there. You'll see that people have uniforms and all that, chanting, and then you get a PA system, you start with a convoy, all that. But there are those instances that people gather voluntarily for free. Churches, funerals, weddings, and such events.
Yeah.
When a politician comes, you see, a politician only sees two things: votes, and political longevity. Only that. And you know, politics is a game of convenience. Alan, if it is convenient for me to partner with you in this season, I will do it, and you will become my brother.
Yes.
You will become my dear brother. I will even know where your mother stays.
You will give a whole history of our lineage.
I'll even do a book.
Yes. Do you want to bring in the Dole book right now?
No. But if it is not convenient for me and you to become partners, then we're going to become the greatest of enemies. But understand, you see, even when you're in an office setup, when you get to the office, you are in office mode. When you get home, you are in home mode. So politicians, yes, they might seem to be fighting, but behind the curtains,
they are talking.
It's a total different game. Very different. So whenever you give a politician a chance, this guy, they will have
use it to the max.
To the maximum. They'll have to show, unajua mimi ndio niko. The only instance that they will not do this if they are not coming back. Like you see in the second tenure of Uhuru Kenyatta and of Mwai Kibaki,
Yeah.
if you will notice, there was very little politics. Little politics compared to the first tenure.
Yeah.
Because, okay, you know, if you like me, you hate me,
Yeah.
I'm not coming back. I don't even need your votes again.
I'm done and dusted with.
I'm done and dusted with.
Yeah.
So for politicians, whenever they get an opportunity,
They will use it.
they will use it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And on to the second question, that rebuttal that they had amongst them. What do you make of that?
Raila still believes that Victoria was stolen.
Yes.
I know there are those that are of the same school of thought. Ruto is of the school of thought that he won.
Yes.
But you know, in politics, there are two things. If you win by the vote, you get the public endorses you. But if you are seen to have won by the vote, there is a hard struggle for you to be endorsed by the public.
Yeah.
And as you can see, what Ruto has done. By the way, Ruto is the first president to give the press an audience.
Yeah.
To have a conversation.
Open audience.
Yes.
Yes.
Moi never did that. Kibaki never did that. In fact, the times of Kibaki, it was Alfred Mutua
Yes.
who was doing that work. In times of Uhuru, the guy used to stand, do his thing, and then
leave the state house clapping.
No.
That famous.
He tells you that there's tea.
Mukimaliza kuna chai hapa nyuma.
Kuna chai hapa nyuma. So it is difficult for Ruto to be accepted by the public. So he has to be pleasing.
Yeah.
Because number one, he was part of the previous regime. Regardless of everything that is happening, what was said, but he was part of the previous regime. So the failures of the previous regime, he cannot run away from it.
They still cast a dark shadow onto him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember there was a time he was told, if you're not happy with what is happening, you can resign. But the guy still stayed put.
Yeah.
So there's that facade that he has to get rid of. So every time they go to a public event, he has to ascertain some form of dominance. But you know, for Raila bwana, Raila is an enigma bwana. You like it or you not, he is Baba. People will always be happy to see him.
Aren't you taking sides right here?
No, I'm not taking sides. What I'm doing, I'm just trying to call it as it is.
Yeah.
Yes, Ruto is charismatic. I'm not like I'm not denying any of it. Ruto is charismatic.
Yeah.
When the guy starts to speak, there's some eloquence that you cannot deny.
Yeah.
But when Raila comes to speak, Raila is charismatic. Yes, eloquence kidogo hakuna.
Yeah.
But there's that love for Raila. But still, right now Ruto is in power, and he has to tell people and to remind them in every occasion that you know, I'm the guy. I'm seated on this seat.
I'm talking about that enigma brand that has been given to the former prime minister. In 24 hours, the president and the former prime minister have met, I think, at 3 different occasions.
Yes.
And they have gotten to greet each other. There is a columnist that I was reading about, and they were saying probably this is leading up to something that we might not be privy to. Do you see something happening where you would say now the bipartisan talks have been entirely halted and this is the direction that the country is going to take? Or because they met at Mukami Kimathi's funeral, and the reception was quite cordial. Obviously, you could not have expected any skirmishes to happen, but also they got later to meet at the Gore AFC match, and I don't remember exactly which was the other third instance, but
the athletics thing.
the theatrics that are happening here, and their teams making sure that they are in the same place at the same time. Do you think there is something that might be cooking under that we are not aware of?
Definitely there's something cooking up. You know history has a good way of repeating itself. Kibaki made peace with Raila in his second term. Uhuru made peace with Raila in his second term. And Ruto has to make peace with Raila. The sooner the better. Because you cannot run a government with a serious opposition. You cannot run a government with a serious opposition. And one of the things that I've seen Ruto trying to do is to bring Raila to parliament through the office of the official opposition leader. There's that old saying that you keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So the only way that Ruto can tame Raila is if Raila is a state employee.
Like he has something
not feels. Not feels.
Yes.
Is if Raila is a state employee. Right now you can't call Raila. You can't summon Raila. With what powers? but if Raila is a state employee, it is easy.
You can summon him through parliament, and actually that what is it called, that enactment where people or cabinet secretaries and different leaders in the government can be called by parliament and then they have to respond, then I think that will be a great opportunity for, even if it happens at all, then the former prime minister can be summoned to parliament even for questioning. But now my main question would be, what is in it for the people? Because if you tame the opposition, what happens to the citizenry?
It's a difficult thing to answer, given that for the economy to grow, there has to be political stability. So number one, the first thing for the people will be an assurance of economic growth. Number two, political stability comes with peace. If there's no political stability, then there will not be peace. And the other thing, the citizens will lose, given that when the opposition is in bed with the current government, there is no opposition to any bill that is seen not to favor the mwananchi. So there's a give and take in everything,
and definitely the mwananchi would say that there is a lot to give and there isn't much to take from this relationship. And I also would piggy it back to the handshake between the former president and the opposition leader. Yes, people said there was a lot of peace. Kenya enjoyed a lot of peace, then people felt pinches in their pockets because nothing could be said to the bad laws that were being enacted and the bad decisions that the government was making that particular day. And also there is a story that is breaking right now where there is a puzzle of a state agency that has been operating for over 8 years without a board. So what would happen, or what would be the worst case scenario if the president right now is in good terms, or there is a good relationship between the opposition and the government? Probably that is a question for you to ponder on as we go for this short break. But when we come back, we're going to be looking at some of the key things that the president said yesterday in the media interview briefing. Keep it silent, and we'll be back after the short break.
We are now closer to you. In our quest to reach you, we are in Mount Kenya region, Coast region, Western region, Nyanza region, Nairobi region, Eastern region, and Southern region on free-to-air platforms, Signet, GoTV, and StarTimes. And to make things even better, you can now watch us online on www.sciencetv.co.ke/live on any internet device, your phone, tablet, laptop, and desktop computer from anywhere in the world at any time. Science TV, leaving no one behind.
Here is a guide to all interpreters on the Assistol app. Download the app from the Google Play Store or App Store and log in as an interpreter. Once you've logged in, allow the app to access your dialer and your camera, and also create your profile by adding your photo and also your phone number. You can now offer interpretation services, and later you receive calls and get paid immediately the call is over. You can later transfer money from the app to your M-Pesa registered number once the call is over. Download the app from the Google Play Store or App Store today. As a professional or a corporate entity, download the app from the Google Play Store or App Store and proceed to register as a corporate entity from the drop-down menu. Edit your profile and add your phone number onto the profile. You can then load money into your wallet using an M-Pesa push notification or via Visa debit card details. You are now ready for professional interpretation services. Download the app from the Google Play Store or App Store today.
If you are paying a mortgage, nothing stops you as somebody who is employed. Yeah? Number one, contributing to this fund. Because it is not a tax. It is your money. What you are doing, you are playing your patriotic duty. Because out there, we have millions of young people who get out of school every year. It is our responsibility, me and you. Why is it our responsibility? Because they are the taxpayers that end up paying our salaries, right? And it is our duty also to see how we can help them in a small way. And you have said correctly that their problem is employment. Precisely. That's why I'm saying these 5 million characters, our children, getting out of school. Don't you think it is a decent thing? Don't you think it is the right thing to participate in an exercise that helps our country, our young people, instead of engaging in crime, in abuse of drugs, to be part, to get a job? By the way, in the last 8 months, 8 months, I have launched the construction of 36,000 housing units in Kenya. Yeah? I went to Homa Bay. Last Friday, I was in South B here at the Bellevue, where they are building, I think, 2,000 something houses. I will be going to Makongeni, hopefully in the next maybe 3-4 weeks or 1 month, to launch another 30,000 houses. The 36,000 units, there are close to 100,000 young people today working in those sites. Engineers, quantity surveyors, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, masons, all manner of people, including the women who sell food. Okay. It is a whole ecosystem. I was very amazed in South B. A group of women were saying, sisi tunaitwa protein, sisi ndio tutakuwa tunauza chakula hapa. Bwana President, tunataka uhakikisha kwamba hii watu wasilete watu wengine. Because you see, it is a whole ecosystem. And I want to ask my countrymen and women, those of us who are employed, please, let us not hold in contempt those who don't have jobs or those who are not.
You say it's not a tax.
It is not a tax.
What is it? What is it?
No, it is a contribution you are making, because if it was a tax, tax, it goes one way. You never get it. This is not a tax.
Okay, why
Because
why then?
it is your money.
Okay, why then Mr. Tribute? And if I don't want?
That's what the law says.
But why are you passing?
Yeah, the question I'm asking you is, are you saying, Abdi, that you don't think it is your business to contribute to the employment of the unemployed Kenyans?
Okay, it's the responsibility.
It is
of
not
the
your
Kenyan
business.
government. Okay, hang on, Mr. President.
Who is Kenyan government? Kenyan government.
And welcome back from that break. We came back from the break with a clip from yesterday's interview where the president was sitting with different journalists in the country and addressing the nation. And Mr. Kasanga, where do we pick it from? Because just to give the viewer a brief history, before the former president Uhuru Kenyatta initially wanted to introduce the same taxes that the current regime is introducing, and the citizenry came together until the former president caved in and said, okay, we shall listen to the Kenyans, we will not introduce these taxes. And some of the people in government right now, they were the biggest critics of these taxes then, but right now they are some of the biggest supporters of the taxes then being introduced. When you look at that, and also you look at how the president, through the clip that we've just played, is justifying why this tax is important, or tax or either contribution, because the president sort of did not clearly put it out. Is it a tax? Is it a contribution? Or if it's not either the two, then what is it exactly? What do you make of it? And I would beg would be constructive. Let us look at it twofold. If it happens, what effect does it have on the Kenyan, the common mwananchi? And if there will be an effect, but also let's look on the other side, because I believe there is always two sides to a story. What two sides would you put through this particular story?
From my stand,
yes.
Or where I sit.
Yes. You're not standing. You're sitting down.
The idea is good.
Yes.
The idea is good, but the public does not understand what it is.
Yeah.
There is no enough public participation, and that is why people are fighting the idea.
Yeah.
Lack of information really causes people to jitter around, because people are looking at it as a form of over-taxation.
Yeah.
And when the president comes out and says it's not a tax, it's a contribution, and people will start asking other questions. Why am I being forced to contribute for this and this and this? Why is it my responsibility? And such questions. But the idea for housing is a good idea.
Yes.
What the request to be done is that the populace needs to be educated.
Fully aware.
Educated, so that they understand what is it that I'm getting into. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and he was asking me if this amount of money is being deducted, that piece of land, where is it?
Yeah.
And I was trying to tell him, it's not a piece of land per se. It's like a flat. You have a unit, someone else has a unit, and then the guy asks me, who told him that is what I want?
And I think that is also the point one of the journalists from Citizen TV also tried to drum on. Yeah.
But I think the idea is good. The idea is very good. In fact, I'm in support for the idea.
Yeah.
But people need to be educated so that they understand what it is, because I see the initial rollout is from government employees.
Yes.
But I see and I believe there are a lot of people in the private sector that will also want to be part of this.
Yeah.
There are even people that are not employed, persons doing businesses that they want to be part of this. So I believe it will be good that people be educated, because the idea is good. The idea is really good.
One of the other things, and even reiterating that the idea or the concept is noble, then what happens, because one underlying factor as to why we are making, or why this contribution is being called for, is because the government needs to widen its pool of resources.
Yes.
So if you're going to say that I am going to widen my pool of resources, and I am promising you housing at the end of the year or at the end of 7 years, but we perfectly know this is not the immediate solution, or this is not the immediate investment that you are going to be making, because you need to look at your overheads, the kind of salaries that you're making for you to be able to run the government. So what I believe the government should be able to do is to clearly come forth and tell Kenyans that yes, I do not want to use the word masquerade, but we are masquerading this because we really need to collect this so that we are able, because when definitely this money is not going to be sitting dormant somewhere for it to wait to build houses for Kenyans. And I think these are the questions that Kenyans are really asking themselves. And I believe from where I stand that if the government was able to come forthright, you see the bonds that the government sells to the people and the people borrow, and then the government raises resources. I think if that was the avenue that the government was going to take and say, if you are able to buy a bond from the government, we are going to make them as affordable as possible so that every Kenyan can be able to afford these bonds, and let us have this pool of money so that we can take our economy onto the next level. I think that is something that Kenyans would have bought in so easily than telling me, but as your friend said, I'm going to have a unit on a flat. I want a mansionette.
Yes.
That is the dilemma that we find ourselves in.
But let me tell you, the government tried to make the bonds more accessible. I remember there was a project called, I think it was M-Bond, something like that. It was in around 2013, 2014, 2015.
Yes.
That period of time. The government wanted to have a lot of borrowing, but from the local market.
Yeah.
But it did not pan out as the government expected. So right now, yes, the government has a good idea, it is ambitious and all that, because the government wants to leave a legacy.
Yeah.
You are saying from this period to this period, this is what you are able to achieve. It is not good to masquerade.
Yeah.
Or to have a facade that these amounts will be used for this and this, but in the real sense not for something else.
Yeah.
But what also the government is trying to run away from is the bonds. They have a shorter maturity time, and their rates are quite high. So instead of getting like 10 billion and you have to pay it in a quarter of an year with around 9, 10, 11, 12% interest, why don't you just get the 3% from salaries and keep it for like 20-30 years?
No, but the president said the turnaround will be 7 years, and you can go to the you can go and say 7 years have elapsed, I need my money back. And
what if the president doesn't come back in the next
I know.
And things change. I can tell you that as a matter of fact, things change. We started with Vision 2030. I don't know what we have right now, but even before Vision 2030 there was something before that. And right now people are talking about Vision 2050. What if the president doesn't come back again? And you also remember Kibaki had such an ambitious plan. If you drive along Langata Road, you will see some high-rise buildings near Kibra. But that the intention for that project was to decongest the largest land that we have. I think it's the second in the continent.
Yeah, I think it's the largest on the continent. Second largest in the world. Second largest
in the world.
Yeah.
And you look at it when the project was completed, people from Kibra did not want to come into those houses. Number one, making it a failed project since the main intention for that project was not achieved. We had middle class people moving into those houses because they could afford to pay that rent, which in turn will be translated to like what is it called? The amount that you pay on a monthly basis.
Installments. Mortgage. Or a mortgage, yes.
Yeah. But I see the government wants to come to such a plan, but in a different way. The aim is to make sure that housing is affordable. And how do you do that? The demand has to meet the supply. That's what the government is looking at.
Okay.
So when you contribute to this fund, Alan will have a house in Nairobi. You want to stay in Kondele.
Why Kondele of all places? But anyway.
So you'll be collecting rent from Nairobi. I think that is what the government wants to do. The plan is good. It is ambitious, but people need to be educated. You know, when people are in with you in such an idea, you'll have little resistance. You know, even people can come and say 3% is so little, why don't you do it at 10%? Because it's an investment, and you know it will pay out. Even if you don't enjoy it as an individual, your children will enjoy it.
And I think also the president retaliated on that. If you won't be able to benefit from it, then you can relinquish it to other people, either your family members, your immediate family members, or somebody that you can relinquish it to.
But you look at it from this point, you know, if it becomes a long-term thing, I have a house in Nairobi, and then I have 2 children. They will still be building houses by the government.
And the housing is not the only thing that the president, or the 3% increment or contribution wasn't the only thing that the president talked about yesterday. The director is going to play other 2 clips that the president spoke so vividly about yesterday. And one of them, I don't know how long the current government is going to say, okay, what happened in the previous regime happened, now we are going to focus on resuscitating the economy and moving forward. I don't know when that is going to happen, but let's hear what the president said, and when we come back, we're going to be weighing into that as well.
If you heard me clearly, there are many other taxes that we have since removed. You know, so you must look at it in context. Yeah? What my economic team advised that time is that we need to relook at these taxes. When we came into government, we found a situation. The country was in a crisis. And by the way, I have had to make very difficult decisions. In fact, coming into office, I had to cancel the borrowing of about 300 billion shillings that the intention was to borrow. That would have taken the country down the cliff. I had to step in and stop many of the subsidies that were being dished left, right, and center. I had to make many changes. I had to reorganize the whole budget because we found a country headed and sliding into bankruptcy. And so when you find that kind of situation, you have to deal with the situation with the urgency and with the acuteness of thinking that is required. Okay. Yeah? You don't operate outside a context. So the question that you have asked me, did we remove some? Did we look at the fuel issue? Yes. We said, while it is true that we have a crisis and we have to deal with a pending bill of 700 billion for the roads that we have, while it is also true that we have to look at what additionally we can do, but we need to put a relief on Kenyans. Okay. That's why, apart from, and you know the reason why the tax on the VAT on fuel or petroleum products is much more attractive is because it is spread across all Kenyans. So everybody carries a small bit of it. Okay. When I came into office, I looked at it, and the one thing that I did that in retrospect was the right thing is to have an economic team around me. So we sat down, we went through the numbers, and finally, the International Monetary Fund does not run the government of Kenya. I do. IMF does not make decisions for the government of Kenya. I do. IMF are our partners. They work with us on our priorities. They work with us on our proposals. They support us where they can. They give us advice where they can, but ultimately, we make the decisions ourselves. And it is not up to IMF to see how to sort out the 680 billion that we have on the road sector. It is not up to any other person. It is up to us. When I get out of this office and go to this village and that constituency and that ward, it is not the IMF that is asked about roads. It is the government of Kenya that I run. So I think there is always this thinking that external factors dictate to us. I think you know me better. Mm-hmm. I can stand up to any pressure from any corner. Mm-hmm. I make the right decisions for our country.
There, the president retaliating that the International Monetary Fund is not in charge of the country, and also him saying that it is he needed to take drastic measures, either going to the extent of cancelling a loan that Kenya was seeking for over 300 billion Kenyan shillings that would have taken the country into the downward spiral. When the president, what he has said, and with the announcement that fuel is expected to be expensive from today morning, what do you make of that? And even as we went into this clip, when is the president or the current government going to stop? Because I think if I do not take it so far, it is almost a year into them being being in charge. When do you think that this blame game is ever going to come to an end and say, okay, we are at the helm? Things are not good, yes, but this is what we're doing to make sure that we are taking a country into the right direction.
Okay. I believe when it comes to the fuel prices, it's going to be a pinch.
Yes.
But I listened to the president yesterday, and yes, the VAT was going to be at 16%, but there was also some reductions.
Yeah.
Like the road levy and all that. It didn't match to the 8% increment.
Yeah.
Around 6.something%.
Yes.
Given that, which it's going to translate into higher petroleum products, which will mean higher bus fares. Faring price is going also to go high.
Yeah.
Power cost is also going to go high, because sometimes we rely on diesel to generate electricity. It's really going to be a pinch without subsidy.
Yeah.
It's going to be a pinch. Although I did not understand how the petroleum products will go up and remove tax on LPG, the liquefied gas that we use at home to cook and to heat the homes.
To just loop into that, the president went ahead and said, okay, I know I promised 300 bob gas, but that is going to have to wait a little bit longer than expected.
I think the promise was made out of excitement during a political period.
Yeah.
But when rubber hits the road, that's when practicality kicks in. And this is what I promised. Can we deliver it?
Yeah.
Is it possible? Is it difficult? Can we meet halfway? I think that's where the president is right now, because it's. We are not in those days that the president can make a proclamation and it's acted upon.
Yeah.
There's a constitutional process that has to be followed.
Public participation, go to parliament,
Yes.
look at the stakeholders who really bring in these products, because these are not products that are brought in by the government.
Yes. And I think we also had that problem with the previous government. The things were promised, a lot of things were promised.
Yeah.
The other day I was making a joke with someone. I told him the children that were promised laptops are now in high school, still waiting for the laptops. So my recommendation for the people that have had a conversation to exchange one or two words with is that we remove all this campaign process at the roadside.
Yeah.
And we come into a place where we can sit down with all the candidates that want us to vote for them, and they tell us this is what we're going to do, and then we ask them, how is this going to be possible? Because even when you sit there, we were promised jobs as well. And you know that the government does not create jobs.
Yeah.
The best that a government can do is to
create an environment,
yes,
create an enabling environment
that will be conducive for the creation of jobs. So those are questions that you could have asked.
Yeah.
I know we had a presidential debate and all that, but you know, the time was limited, and we could not ask all those questions at a time.
Yeah.
So the president is trying to deliver on some of the promises that he made during the campaign period, and it's becoming difficult.
Yeah.
You know, the government does not produce gas. Actually, the government does not produce anything.
Yeah.
So making promises on even the price of goods and services, it's difficult, without having to go back to the tax coffers and get money to maybe do a subsidy program.
Yeah. And I see we are definitely short of time, but even as we're winding up, what do you believe would be the immediate thing that a Kenyan can do? This week, I believe the bipartisan talks are supposed to be kicking off, and also this week the conversation around the finance bill 2023 is still getting heated up, and obviously we'll find some time and come and explain to our viewers what does the finance bill really entail, and which are some of the things that you need to look out for as a Kenyan. But that is a conversation that we'll organize for another day. But as we're winding up, Mr. Kasanga, what, as a Kenyan who NHIF has been raised, NSSF has been raised. Now I need to pay an extra 3% on the little money that I am earning. Fuel prices have been are rising on the daily, and if I'm a woman, I can no longer have my nails on. What what are the tangible things that Kenyans should be looking out for?
There are a lot of things that will go up. A lot of things, you know, everything has to come either by road or by air,
or by sea,
or by sea. And that is fuel. I remember the other day we were importing some goods from another country, and we were really shocked at the price to import. We were making jokes with my wife. Mbona tusiende pale tuchukue tu na mkono tukuje nayo hapa nyumbani, haina difference kubwa. And one thing that I'll advise people, because right now the government is going for the disposable income that we have.
Your families can put around.
Yes. So I think it's high time we reevaluate what we need and what we don't need in the house. And what we need, we keep it. What we don't need, we can do away with it. And also go back to buying things in bulk. It saves money in the long run. Well, you buy things in bulk that you can finish with it within 3 months. The other time we did, we bought unga in bulk. It took us over 6 months to finish.
You want to do a balanced diet, but you cannot, because if you dare do it, ungetaribika.
If you want protein, you are like, okay, but the doctors say 2 pieces of meat is enough. And we are Kenyans, we have to fill on meat. So we can prepare for tougher times, but I'm hoping that the government promises come true, and we get some of these subsidized things. The price of unga comes down. The other day I was just doing some readings. I asked myself, why unga? Of all the things, why maize meal? Sorry, maize flour. And I came around an article that the government gazetted maize flour to be a staple food. And I was like, okay, why can the government, also gazette rice, cassavas, yams, so that hata unga mahindi ikipanda, tunakimbilia upande ingine.
And I remember the CS Agriculture one time joked, simukule pia mchele.
It's a conversation that we can have also as a country.
All right. Thank you very much for making time, and that's all we've had for this morning. He's here to give the advice. Mine is only to prompt. I cannot tell you what to do, but I believe that in your own right and in your own wisdom, you will be able to make the decision that will make you not feel much a pinch in the current situation that we are finding ourselves in. That has been Monday's political edition, and this is something that we're going to be doing every other Monday. So do look out for us next week. I've been your host, Alan Hubbard. Joining me for Political Monday has been Johnson Kasanga, and on sign language this Monday morning has been Gideon Minor. in collaboration with Jedida Wafula, and to our able director, producer Kamau, we say thank you very much, and do have yourself a beautiful Monday and also a beautiful week ahead.